There are a fair number of interplanetary souls in the entertainment industry who then have a platform, whether they're actors, musicians, comedians, whatever they might be. Another understanding I have that I've gained from regression is that the earth is not primarily populated by experienced souls. The earth, the bulk of humans on earth are, we might say, moderate, mid-range of soul evolution. Mother Mary is the soul of Isis and is the soul of Kuan Yin. And so Lord Maitreya shows up fairly often, and Lord Maitreya is one of my guides. And, we give him this familiar name. Often the names we use for these souls may have been the name of their final incarnation on Earth.
How are we being helped and where are we headed? Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. On this show, we have with us today Dr. Linda Backman, who is a psychologist and a past life regression therapist from the US. A very warm welcome, Linda, on Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
This is part 2 of a 2-part conversation. If you have not watched part 1, then we highly recommend that you watch that. The link for that is provided in the video description. There is so much of chaos happening across the world right now in 2025. It's been so challenging. And what I've heard is these challenges are going to continue. As we are ascending, everything is coming to surface. So what is your understanding? What's going to happen in the coming years because you've worked with so many of them and they have tapped into the higher realms. So what is your understanding? What is going to happen? And why is there so much of focus on humanity's helping humanity or Earth right now?
Well, I think what the higher realm hopes will happen is that more and more humans, more and more incarnate souls will wake up and take action steps to move beyond criticizing people's way of lives, move beyond inappropriate behavior, move beyond, obviously, as you've already said, and this is not just in the United States, but clearly I am an American and live in the US, though I've traveled a lot abroad. There are a lot of struggles of, just the whole notion in the world, but especially in the US, of gun control, of how is it, that an 18-year-old has access, or a 16-year-old or whatever has access to a weapon. Our laws are more open-ended than certain other countries. Humans are going to have to wake up and realize that's not working very well. And so it's up to us as souls in body to make decisions and make changes. And I think some of that is happening. Another understanding I have that I've gained from regression is that the earth is not primarily populated by experienced souls. The earth, the bulk of humans on earth are, we might say, moderate, mid-range of soul evolution. And that means the more experienced souls on Earth must be more verbal, more out there, and hoping to speak for and put out intentions to create change. I don't, it's my understanding that the higher realm, it's almost like the higher realm, this may or may not be surprising to people listening. The higher realm doesn't, have a crystal ball. The higher realm doesn't know what's coming next week, next year, and in the future. Earth exists in chronological time. Souls on Earth evolve in chronological time. So there isn't, it's all too easy, I think, for there to be a spiritual perspective of, at some level, everything is perfect and healthy, and that will just ultimately change automatically on Earth. That's not what I discovered through regression. That we humans have to take action steps.
Right. But there are interplanetary and angelic realms souls coming on Earth at this time intentionally. As you said, that there is a major kind of influx, or a lot of them are coming here to guide humanity in their learning.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And that, I mean, that's the purpose. And that, I think in many ways, Akanksshaa, that's why you do what you do, I do what I do, and others, that you're guided, I'm guided, other spiritual people are guided to speak out, teach, support, guide change on our planet. And it's those, sort of brave people who take steps forward, even if that it seems unpopular.
Yeah, true. I also have heard this, that there are interplanetary souls who have been kind of planted or put in the government, in the politics, in business, in kind of influential positions, so as to bring huge shifts or massive changes. So, like for example, there is a speculation that Elon Musk is an ET, he's our interplanetary soul. What's your understanding? Are there such people there who are interplanetary souls in influential positions?
Oh, I think absolutely yes. I mean, and though yes, I think that those souls, whether they're interplanetary or angelic realm or advanced Earth-based souls, that yes, step into positions of influence to try to move humanity forward. I think that's absolutely true. And, it's a little bit like, trying to push a snowball uphill versus downhill. But some people are tenacious, and they need to be tenacious. And, there's I don't watch as much of the news as I used to, only because there's a lot of negativity in the news. But, even just this morning, as I was listening to, not just, I don't just listen to the news in the United States, I certainly listen to international news. And I won't speak about specifics because this is not a political program, but there's the need for free speech. There's a need for sovereignty of nations. More and more people have to speak out. I think we see, just one piece that I think is probably okay to focus on is that in some cases we see various countries coming together with similar attitudes, even if those non-US countries are going against something that's being pushed by the leadership of the US. And so I think those are positive steps where we see various countries of the world coming to agreement, leadership coming to agreement. If that leaves out other countries whose opinion is different, well, maybe that's just the way it needs to be.
Yes, I understand. And the recent tariff war. Yeah, so yes, even I don't want to get into too much politics,
Yeah.
but can you talk about some names of interplanetary souls who are currently like in influential positions? Has this come across in any of the regressions?
Not, it's interesting. I could easily speak about some earth-based souls in advanced earth-based souls in positions of leadership, and that might be an interesting thing to just touch on. I think my best answer is I think there are a fair number of interplanetary souls in the entertainment industry who then have a platform, whether they're actors, musicians, comedians, whatever they might be, where they have this almost easier platform in order to speak out, whether it's taking on a role, in a series or something like that. So I think there are a lot of interplanetary souls in certain industries, particular the entertainment industry. But I also know that there are advanced earth-based souls that have been incarnating on Earth for probably thousands of years, who continue to keep incarnating. This has come through in regression. One of those souls that sort of relates directly to your country is what I might call the Gandhi soul. It's my understanding that the Gandhi soul, of course, anyone who has studied the life of Gandhi knows that Gandhi stood for nonviolence and was absolutely an extremely progressive person. It's my understanding that particular soul that I'm just calling the Gandhi soul, that soul continues to incarnate at times in split incarnation on Earth to keep pushing for evolution of humanity, that we have souls that go back into either this, there's a lot of things I learn over time through regression. I have studied, okay, let me see if I can make this simple. The three oldest civilizations on the planet are, and there are some almost as old, but the three oldest civilizations on the planet are the civilization that we once called Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers come together. There was another of the three earliest civilizations in southern Pakistan near the Indus River called the Indus River civilization. And then the other earliest civilization is the Egyptian civilization. I have traveled to Egypt. I have taken groups to Egypt and spent time in sacred sites in Egypt. It's my understanding that there are souls that incarnated in all three early civilizations that continue to incarnate, but in some cases, some of the souls that incarnated, for example, in the Egyptian civilization, also, concurrently at the same time, had incarnations in the Indus River civilization or in Mesopotamia. Those souls continue to incarnate to work to move humanity forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had heard quite a bit about, like you said, that entertainment industry, because Hollywood, especially movies like Christopher Nolan movies, they're Interstellar, Matrix, and Inception. They are kind of, and some of the other movies also, they're like soft disclosure kind of movies where they do let you know or kind of shed some light on Matrix specifically. And then Keanu Reeves, I'd heard, is interplanetary soon. So, yeah. So I had not heard about Gandhi ji being an evolved soul, as in having these kind of multiple incarnations for progressing the earth forward. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I think also, Akanksshaa, one thing we're talking about is my understanding the Gandhi soul is an earth-based soul, but then there are these souls. When you talk about some of the more sci-fi movies, and the movie Avatar, I have had clients talk about very similar images, civilizations, way of life to what we see in the Avatar movies. I have no doubt that whoever writes those scripts, they're tapping into, I think, in many cases, valid information.
Absolutely. I would love to know what is, or if there is any common thread that you have found across these regressions, any overlapping thread. Like, for example, Dolores Cannon was given a lot of information about Atlantis and those civilizations, and also about convoluted universe. Across these regressions, so even though people come from different parts of the world, suddenly you are the one who is getting a thread of information. So can you share with us what is it that you have observed across all these regressions?
Boy, I mean, it's sort of hard to generalize. Well, many common threads in the sense that when you speak about Lemuria and Atlantis, I have no doubt those civilizations existed. I have no doubt there are some of us in body today that had lives in one or both of those eras of time and those civilizations. It's also my understanding that, and this comes from, again from regression, that those civilizations, especially Atlantis, Atlantis failed because the population of Atlantis became so focused on technology, and crystal reactors and that sort of thing, that they moved away from their focus of appropriate treatment of people and caring for others, that they began to lean so far into scientific technology and lost sight of what do humans need, what's appropriate behavior and relationship with humans. I mean, I've had many clients. Well, let me back up just a half a step. When I guide the soul level regression called Between Life Soul Regression, almost always the client's primary spiritual guide comes forward. And when that guide comes forward, sometimes those guides are, we might say, familiar or nameable souls. And those are souls that we might call ascended masters. So, I mean, I certainly have archangels coming in as primary guides. Other souls that, I mean, I think sadly humans have put too much like in a box, but the souls of, there are many advanced souls, and some of the names that people are familiar with would be the Mother Mary soul. That soul is the same soul as Isis in the Egyptian pantheon. The soul that humans call Jesus that soul's name, I'm sure people know this, that soul's name in the life of quote unquote Jesus of Nazareth, that soul's name wasn't Jesus, because that's a Greek name given to that soul after the crucifixion. That soul's name was Yeshua. But that is a very advanced soul that continues to not only work with earth-based souls, in my understanding, but that and the Yeshua soul is an earth-based soul, but works at times also with interplanetary souls. So, there are a lot of these threads that show up in regression and understanding who are those more expanded, experienced souls that are working hard to aid humanity's evolution.
Yeah, interesting. So, who all ascended masters have come through? Who all you have worked with? Because I have personally experienced, and I am guided by Mahavatar Babaji and Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, the autobiography of a yogi.
Right.
So, yeah, so I would love to know who all you have come across, and are you guided by any of them, or have they come across in the regressions?
Yeah, a good question. Well, think about a few souls that show up. One soul that shows up moderately often that I'm familiar with is the soul, and these souls have names, and we give them this familiar name. Often the names we use for these souls may have been the name of their final incarnation on Earth. So one of those souls is the one that people refer to as Maitreya or Lord Maitreya, and it's my understanding Maitreya is the most long-standing soul that works in the Earth's spiritual realm. And so Lord Maitreya shows up fairly often, and Lord Maitreya is one of my guides. So I connect with that soul fairly often. Other souls, the one known as El Moria, Master Moria, shows up. Master Saint Germain shows up. Mother Mary, as I mentioned, and Mother Mary is the soul of Isis and is the soul of Kuan Yin. That is a very long-standing earth-based soul. Gosh, some of the archangels, and then one thing I find, and this might be useful for listeners as well, when talking about guides, when we're talking about interplanetary souls and angelic realm souls. So if people think about the three types of souls, what I've learned from clients, if my client is an earth-based soul, an earth-based soul always has a lead spiritual guide that is not the client's higher self. Interplanetary souls and angelic realm souls are often guided primarily by their own higher self, because their higher self is sufficiently evolved to serve as their guide. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Also, it's so interesting that you said that Kuan Yin, Isis, and Mother Mary are the same soul, and they are different incarnations of the same higher self.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
that's not known a lot. Yeah, that's very interesting. So, can you share some experience which was like quite surprising for you, which happened in any of the regressions? Like you didn't expect it all, and something came through.
Certainly, what you just asked. Early on, when I started working with clients that are interplanetary or that are angelic realm, early on, if I have worked with clients that are an aspect of one of the archangels, and that's a number of years ago. But that was, I'll say it was surprising, interesting, and made sense. And so I'm remembering one particular client that I worked with, a woman who discovered in her regression that she is an aspect of Archangel Michael. And when I first met her, and when I interviewed her before I guided her regression, she was struggling with a circumstance that happened in the church group that she was attending. And she was, I guess I would say, appalled at the human argumentative, judgmental, lack of mutual respect that was going on in her church community. And there was that, it's kind of strange for me in many ways, because I'm trained as a conventional psychologist and I'm trained in abnormal psychology. So the old me, if you will, the conventional psychologist me in the past would have started putting pathological labels on certain people's attitudes or behavior. As I've learned about soul and learned about soul history, different types of souls, then when I listen to someone who seems very spiritual and is also quite involved with a conventional church community and struggles with the sort of unhealthy relational behavior in the church community, it's like, now, why doesn't this person just let this go? Or why is this bothering them so much? Until I come to understand who they are as a soul. In this case, Archangel Michael. And it's like, oh, and it's almost sudden. It's almost like being in a dark room and suddenly someone turns on the light. It's like, oh, now I understand. Now I understand the higher values, the probably life contract and agreement of what that person came into body to work on, and their level of evolution at the soul level. And it's like, okay, now it all makes sense, and sort of my pathological labels get thrown out the window.
Yeah, amazing. When we talked about split incarnations, there can be multiple incarnations at the same time. Have you come across twin flames?
I mean, that's a great question. People ask me that a lot. And what I always have to do when someone asks me that is to find out, there are different interpretations of what that term twin flame means. So this is what I always do. Tell me what your concept of twin flames.
Okay, because I'm on the twin flame journey myself, I can tell you from my experience is that twin flames are two persons where one soul is split into two bodies. So it's like they are exact mirrors of each other. Their polarity, and they are exactly of the same core soul frequency, because each soul has some frequency and essence. And because I have also seen myself as a multidimensional soul, projecting my consciousness across all multiverse, and at the same time I am also a twin flame. So this makes a little bit complex, but what I can say from my experience is two persons who have exact core soul frequency. Because the other ones come near your soul frequency, but it may not be the exact core soul frequency. When we ascend in any way, when we start evolving and start embodying more of our higher self, then that differentiation starts becoming not so important. Yeah. But I would love to know from you.
Yeah, so I think, what you're talking about is split incarnation. You're talking about two people that are aspects of the same soul. Yes, I've come across that. They're not always blood family members. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But the notion of two people being aspects of the same soul, yes, I've come across that. I find that those two people have, how can I say this? Those two people have different life contracts. They may have different life intentions. And yet there are a lot of commonalities. Sometimes in fact, oftentimes they look similar. There's a similar look to the face, sometimes a similar bone structure or body structure. But yes, I have come across that.
When we talked about Atlantis and Lemuria, and you said that the technology advanced so much and the spirituality didn't advance that much. Now we are again at the same cusp, or the point where AI is advancing so much and the technology is advancing so much that we are talking about transhumanism, that putting a chip in the brain and all that. And there are so many debates happening about whether AI will take over and everything, the technology will take over humanity. So, what's your understanding from these regressions as to how are we being helped and where are we headed?
I mean, that's an interesting and a great question. I know there's a lot of conversation on the planet, a lot of concern about both the benefits and the risks of AI. And I would say, in what I hear from guides, is there's a lot of how can I put this, sort of mixed attitude. There are certainly benefits to AI, but there are also risks in regard to AI. And of course, technology is moving and shifting and changing so quickly. I don't have, I've not of late heard any predictions or anything like that. But I think that guides in the higher realm monitor and try to influence the benefits of AI, but the risks of AI. And, I think that my sense would be that some of the higher guides are certainly concerned about not only the risks of AI, but people with monetary intentions of, we might say, filling their pockets because of their AI capability. And I think the guides are doing their best to monitor that and guide humans to make healthy choices.
Okay, that's great. Okay, I ask all my guests a few questions, like rapid fire towards the end. Can I ask you those?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
If you were to explain multidimensional soul to anyone, how would you explain it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, we are soul and body with a human brain. But we are multidimensional because we are always in communication, whether we're aware of it or we're not aware of it. We're always in communication with our own higher self, which is the soul energy that we don't bring into body, and we're in communication with our guides. And so we are always functioning, and you might say, in a multidimensional manner from Earth to beyond Earth.
Okay. What is holistic well-being according to you?
Holistic well-being means we when we're in body, we respect that we're in a human body, and we must take care of our human body from both a mind, body, spirit perspective, so that we must be feeding this body in healthy ways, but also, again, mind, body, spirit, being holistic in how we care for ourselves.
What is the ultimate purpose of life?
Well, if we interpret that notion of the ultimate purpose of life, it's to grow and evolve and operate more from other than self, and operate more from love is such an overused term, but operate more from a caring perspective, caring for all life and not just focusing on self.
If you were to make any changes in current educational system, what would they be?
Wow. It's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I would say that the educational system in any country needs to serve all people of all races, all colors, all ways of life, and not focus only on those who might have greater opportunity because of the family where they come from.
Okay. What is love?
I would say love is the energy of high frequency mutual respect for all living things.
Okay. What is self-love?
Self-love is taking care of our own needs and not ignoring our need for rest, our need for privacy, our need for affiliation, our need for connection to earth and to animals.
What's your parting message for our audience today?
Trust that you are here with purpose, so you are intentional in your current life. Trust that you have direct connection to the higher realm, and trust your intuition.
Okay. And how can people connect with you?
People can find me. My website is the easiest way to connect with me, and my website is Raven, like the bird, RAVEN, ravenheartcenter.com.
Okay. It's been absolutely a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Totally my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Namaste.
Namaste to you.
Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and my guests. If you resonate with me, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share. Let's keep this beautiful energy in flow, in motion. Namaste. Lots of love.